Hi scholars, today is Word Problem Wednesday, so we're going to be starting by solving a word problem having to do with Mrs. Bryant. So this one's, as we know, we need to read this problem 3 times, and during those 3 reads, we have 3 different jobs. During the first read, I find the verbs so I can figure out what's going on in the problem. What are the people in this situation doing? What are their actions? And then the second read, we write on the problem in our own words and we talk to ourselves saying like, here's what I think is happening in our own way. Then the third time we read, we add back the numbers that we weren't reading before so we can actually do the math. Okay, let's read together. Mrs. Bryant has 139, oops, not supposed to do that. I'm gonna say some so that I don't get bogged down by those numbers. I just want to figure out what's happening in the problem. Mrs. Bryant has some pencils. Now I know one thing that's happening, so I'm going to go ahead and visualize Mrs. Bryant. Okay, and she has some pencils. I'm just going to draw a quick pencil, nothing fancy. I know that she has more than one because it said pencils. Okay, and some erasers. All right, I'm going to imagine those big pink erasers. She has some of those too. Okay, and since it says has, I'm thinking that means they are both with her. Okay, so that's all I know for now, and that is my verb. She has them with her. How many, oh, not supposed to read that yet. That comes at the last point. So we understand the situation. She has pencils, she has erasers. Now let's write it in our own words. Mrs. Bryant has, okay, so they are with her. Maybe she has them in like a, I'm imagining in a bucket. I like to kind of imagine the situation. Some pencils and some erasers, and usually if she has both, that means we might be putting them together. Not sure yet. So I'm just going to put a plus because if she has pencils and erasers and she has both of them, we think of it as like one group of pencils and erasers together. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to myself a little bit. Mrs. Bryant is here. She's got some pencils and erasers together in a bucket possibly, and then they're all together, so we might be thinking of them as a complete group. Maybe, but we have to read the question first. So that comes next. We're going to add back the values and put the numbers into our visual. Mrs. Bryant has 139 pencils and 88 erasers. How many more pencils than erasers does she have? Okay, so I remember from class that when we see than, what we're doing is comparing. So we're trying to tell the difference between the number of pencils she has and the number of erasers she has. And whenever we're finding the difference between two things and telling how different they are, what we're trying to do is subtract. Okay, so now I'm going to put a minus sign up here, and now I know what my equation should be. So basically what we'll be doing is thinking, okay, 139, she has more pencils, so that's our greatest number. That's our whole in our subtraction equation. And then we have the part, and that is the erasers. Okay, our whole is the pencils. And we're trying to find the part that's different between the numbers 88 and 139. So my equation over here for strategy 1 is going to be 139 minus 88, okay, equals Another way I might be able to think of it is if I have 88 erasers, how many more erasers would I have to catch up to the amount of pencils that she has? Okay, that's kind of what we think of when we're telling the difference between two things. So we are going to start I really like solving these difference ones in a number line strategy. So I could start at 88, that's the number of erasers, and think how many more erasers would I have to have the same amount as pencils, because it says how many more pencils than erasers does she have. Okay, So I'm going to count to 139, and the difference between the two numbers will be in between the numbers 88 and 139. 88 can make that into a friendly number by adding 2, because 8 plus 2 makes the next 10. The next 10 after 88 is 90. That's a very friendly number because it ends in 0, and now I can easily count by tens. I'm looking at this number over here, and I know I need to get to 100, but right now I'm at 90. So I know I can just add one more 10 to get to 100. Then once I'm at 100, I look over at the number again and say, okay, I have enough hundreds. Now I'm going to move over here. How many tens do I have to hop? Well, I have to hop 3 tens, which is the same as 30, because 100 plus 30 will make 130. And now the only thing I have left is to add on 9, and that's going to get me all the way to 139. Okay, so now my answer is not 88. That was how many erasers. My answer is not 139. That was the number of pencils. Instead, my answer is whatever's in between, because I was finding the difference between the amount of pencils she has and the amount of erasers she has. So I look at the jumps and see how much they are worth altogether to find my missing part, to find how many more pencils there are than erasers. So I go 30 plus 10 is 40, plus 9 is 49, and then I think 2 more than that, so 49, 50, 51. Okay, so now I know my missing piece or part is 51. Excellent. So that's one way to solve it, but if I really want to make sure it's 51, I'm also going to do a second strategy to check, because I'm precise and I'm a mathematician, and I'm not just going to be like, that's the right answer, and be like, am I sure that's the right answer? So we'll use the place value chart like we talked about yesterday, because this is a great strategy. We'll do a hundreds place, tens place, and ones place. I have to remind myself what my equation is, so I'm doing 139 minus 88 to find the difference between the pencils and erasers. Okay, so now I remember I put in my whole, which is 100, 10, 20, 30, and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 100, 110, 120, 130, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139. Okay, now I can cross out 88. The only little problem here is that I have enough ones to take out 8. Yes, okay, but I have to check each place. Do I have enough tens to take away 8 tens? I don't. Okay, that might become a problem later. I'm going to start in my ones place. I always start with my ones. Let me take away 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I have 1 left. But now I have to take away 8 tens. I don't have enough tens, so I go next door and get 10 more tens by unbundling one of my hundreds, because 100 is the same as 10 tens. So it's a fair trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or in other words, this would be worth 100, because really these are tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Awesome. Okay, so I broke down or unbundled my 100 or regrouped, and now I'm ready to take away 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me count up what's left in my tens place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tens are left. That's also 51. Score. So now I can see that my answer that I got for the difference down here matches the one I got up here with my number line strategy. I'm ready for my explanation. So first in my explanation, I will answer the question by restating some of the question. How many more pencils than erasers does she have? So I want to start with her name. So I'm going to say Mrs. Bryant has 51 more pencils than erasers. I know this because I subtracted to find the difference between 139 and 88. If you count from 88 to 139, it takes hops of, let's see how I could describe this up here. 30, 10, 2, and 9, which makes 51. The difference, I'm out of room here, the difference between the number, of pencils and erasers. All right, so that was a way to describe what work I did in my number line to actually get to the answer 51. And that's how you would explain, making sure first to give your answer with a complete sentence. I am very excited to see the steps that you take and see all your math knowledge spell out on your paper. Show me what you can do.